move my hand up and twist it to the side to reach that F.
This dang thing works today. Does it? And you know, I had a stretch where this was working for months before it would show me those color bars. Okay, so Liam's asking about fingerings on cadences. And I had thought about showing you some different fingerings for different keys because they do feel different, you know. C sharp minor feels a lot different from E minor. But I chose not to do that. And I think it is easier so you don't have another dimension you have to think about what's happening with fingers here. It's perfectly fine to play every single one, 1, 3, 5, and then just move up 1, 3, 5, and every one. What's going to make that easier is saying, well, I have to do this twist. You know, I know exactly why that's happening. It's because you're probably out here on the keys. What you need to get used to, and it's perfectly okay to do, is to get up into the black keys. When you get up into the black keys, it's much easier to play other black keys without having to do that twist. You keep your hands pretty much straight. No matter what it is. If I'm out here and I gotta go here, then I gotta get this little twist, but if I put it up in,
And also, it makes it difficult for like the C, because then you have to move around the black keys.
yeah, it does
Like that seems like it would be easier to play all the other keys than just having more than C.
Are you having C major? Or
yeah, C major.
C major should be.
It is easiest, but when you have the black keys in the way, you have to lift your hand up even more.
Oh,
didn't
C major
practice it
doesn't
like
have
that.
any black keys.
I know that.
So you don't need to move up.
So I'm avoiding the black keys, and I have my fingers, since my fingers are up in the black keys,
Yeah, so let me clarify. This suggestion of moving up into the black keys is for those ones.
Oh.
It's not across the board because you don't need to play any black keys. So you don't need to.
Okay, so it's a little bit.
Yeah. Those ones that you are finding twisting difficult is probably because you're too far.
I've got fingers, and my fingers don't like to fit between.
I got giant, crazy alien space hands. And I can fit in. It's an acclimation. So, with all that said, these are some suggestions that hopefully can help you. If you find that you want to try some good fingerings and that works for you, go for it. This is not a test of fingers. So, if this helps you, go for it. If you find it's easier to do,
Quick question.
It takes a little bit of getting used to getting in between those keys.
Quick question. When they designed the piano with the extended white keys, did they have in mind like the physics of it, like how you could make it louder when you hit lower on the white keys?
I don't know. That's a good question. Meaning, like, because it's a lever,
Yeah.
the same velocity at different points of the key would produce a different amount of force.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that. I know that's a good question.
I think people are so how the piano works. There's a bunch of keys to be right next to each other for everything.
Well, it's not like an exact lever either.
So we have to fit all these keys into this direct platform, so everything has to be
say that, you know, having studied with some really good pianists and focusing on technique, that's never come up. It's never part of the conversation. Now, be aware when you're up here, it's going to have a different, it's going to push back differently, so you need to approach it. That I've never heard of that conversation. I'm not saying that piano teachers and piano students don't have that conversation, but I've never had that conversation.
It just forces your hand into that position a little higher. So you just need better technique.
Yeah, it's that there must be a difference just because of the physics of a lever, but it doesn't impact how it feels.
Isn't it fully a lever? Like
Yeah,
there's a lever part that is connected to the key, and then there's that hits up on a pushes a hammer up and strikes it, and then there's like a little thing off to the side below the hammer that keeps the note ringing or something like that.
Yeah, there's the damper.
Yeah, but the further away it is, the more force you can put into it. It's like when you're working on a car, you put all the little
Yeah,
extender
if
fingers.
you, there's no question that this is rotating on a fulcrum, you know. So his question is a good one. This is certainly rotating on a fulcrum, so it's the physics of where you put pressure on that lever takes a different amount of force. But again, you know, having studied with some really great pianists, that's never came up in our lessons. So I don't think it's a concern. I don't think it's something that enters into choices about where you put your the physics of the lever.
Cool combo though.
Pardon?
Cool conversation though.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I'm surprised I made it this far without ever hearing that question before. It's a really good question. Okay, while I'm sitting at the piano, any other questions about those cadences?
Not really. No, I just need to work on the minor. I got all the majors down, but just minor keys. Because you want to play an A minor scale as an A major scale. Because there's a whole step between do and T, and it's not T, it's
Te.
Yeah,
Te, yeah.
There's a whole step.
Well, when
between
you,
T.
yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you're practicing the whole scale. But if you're focused just on getting this cadence thing together, you really all need to practice those first 5 notes with the extra little 6 on top.
I'm already practicing scales.
But if you're practicing the whole scale, that's great.
So if you learn all the major scales and you just use a circle of bits, you just use all the relative measures to figure out
You
everything else.
can, and that's a great place to start. But ultimately it depends on how deep you want to go. You know, if you want to know your shit. You want to sit down at the piano and say, I've been there, done that. Then playing all your harmonic minor scales in addition to your natural minor scales is a good move.
But it's easier to figure out harmonic if you're minor one.
Yeah. Oh, totally. The fingerings, the natural minor fingerings can be all the same because they are the same scale. That's cool. They'll change when you turn them into harmonic minor. Okay. Last piece of advice about the cadences is if you're feeling like you don't have them as well as you'd like to and you're not sure why, but you're not just practicing more to fix it, then you're missing the boat. The solution is continue to practice. But now let's qualify practice. Good practice. Somebody tell me what good practice is. Yeah, Andy.
Focusing on what's difficult for you, not just doing the easiest part over and over again.
Okay, that's a good part of good practice. Yeah, don't just go straight to what you know how to do and just do that. get to work on the challenging stuff. Yep,
Never assume that you mastered it.
that's
Because
nice.
if
Yeah, that
once
applies.
you get to the point where you're comfortable, start adding it to like songs or rhythms that you like to play
Yeah, cool.
to get more experience.
Yeah, so it's kind of some next level stuff once you start to get it. But we're focusing on the steps to getting it. Repetition. I'm still looking for a word. Let's qualify that repetition.
Let's go slow
Playing
in the
it
beginning.
slowly. Why?
So that you don't make your mistakes permanent,
Exactly.
and it's just easier to process.
Slowly and accurately. Then repetition. Don't practice mistakes. If you practice mistakes, your fingers are learning mistakes. Play it slow enough so that you're playing it correctly. And I really mean that. When you sit down at the piano, you're going to try out a new key. So your new key is B minor. It is better to take 15 seconds before you play that E minor chord for the first time, knowing you absolutely have it right. Then to do this. Oh, there it is. It actually took me less time to play it wrong and fix it than to play it correctly. But playing it correctly once was better for my fingers and my brain and my musicianship than playing it wrong. Even if playing wrong and fixing it is faster. Because if you practice it wrong, then practice it correctly. Get it once. Ah, there it is. Okay, I'm just going to practice B minor. Now I know what it is. Now I got it accurately. I can play 25 times. Work out my 5 chord. I'll practice that a bunch. No mistakes. Then put it together. 4 chord, 5 chord, 4. Speed it up and keep it accurate. Once you've got it, seriously sit there for the next 90 seconds. Play it 50 times in a couple minutes. So what was that about? 2 or 3 minutes of practicing the minor out the minor.
And that's all we have to do is play those 4 chords.
Yep.
You get
It's really pretty cool. Cadence is made up of 3 chords. One which
3
you-
different chords.
One which you repeat.
Way. Okay. What are we doing? So putting keyboard stuff to rest. Happens on Monday. Again, start now. Practice, practice, practice. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Thoughtful, accurate practicing. It is the only way to get there. Wrong things. Back to chapter 7. Oh, we're not done with our text stuff yet, right? Because we went on some tangent yesterday and I don't remember what it was.
It was in the
first 2 sentences.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I had a question.
Yeah.
So for the keyboard cadences, it says pick. It says you perform 2 of each, minor and major. So do we get to pick which one, or do you pick for us?
Oh, heck no, I will pick.
Oh, okay.
You're prepared to play any. I think that's what it first says, right? Be prepared
Okay.
to play. Yeah.
I don't remember the directions. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah. Be
Thank
prepared
you.
to play any of those up through 4 sharps and 4 flats. And then
Sweet. Okay.
I'll set up some system where it takes my conscious choices out of the process. Either randomly picking them out of a hat or some sort of system where I'm rotating through.
Sounds good.
All right. So, chapter 7, harmonic progression. Yeah, we got through the first 2 sentences. That's right, it was tonal modal conversation. That was a good conversation. So, why is it that some chord successions seem to progress, to move forward toward a goal, whereas others tend to wander, to leave our expectations unfulfilled? Compare the 2 progressions in 7-1. First was composed following the principles that will be discussed in this chapter. But the chords for the second were selected at random. Although the random example has certain freshness to it, no doubt the first one sounds more typical of tonal harmony. This chapter will explore this phenomenon, but first we must turn to a topic that concerns melody as well as harmony. But I'll play these. Okay, stop the keyboard stuff, please. Sorry. Journey. Here's the second one. I like that one. It felt a little funky and undone. But yeah, again, like they said, it's going to have a freshness to it. None of it's ugly, none of it's bad. But again, listen to what we're listening for is this sense of tension and the need to resolve and the need to move forward toward the next chord. Very comfortable. Feels undone. Yeah. Add a little life to it. Back. Okay. Let's get into their conversation on sequence. I think that's what we're going to talk about first. Sequence, a pattern that is repeated immediately in the same voice, but that begins on a different pitch class. A word that I wish they'd use is transposition. I want you to, the word sequence is going to come up again and again in a lot of different contexts. Any musical sequence has 2 elements to it. Oh, did I share this? Zoomers, are you still looking at? No, you're not. Fix that. The 2 words I want you to associate with sequence are repetition and transposition. Repetition and transposition. Repetition is just repetition. If I go. Just repeating it. But I can go. Now I'm taking that little fragment I'm playing and moving it up to the scale. I'm transposing it while I do it. That's a C. What happens next? twice, but they were transposed up. I'm keeping everything, I'm jumping ahead, but I want to plant this other seed in there as well. Talk about repetition and sequence is the big word. Underneath it, you're going to write repetition and transposition. Okay. Another set of common terms we use are diatonic and chromatic. Everything I'm doing right now, the beginning of this is diatonic. It's diatonic because I'm staying in the scale. As I slide this melodic sequence, this melodic pattern through the scale, I'm just staying in the scale. I'm conforming to the shape of the scale. When I first play it, do, re, mi, that's 2 whole steps. But by the time I get to that's mi, fa, sol, there's a half step between mi and fa. So it's, even though I'm using the same thing over and over again, it's changing because I'm moving through the scale. The whole steps and half steps are different things as you move through the scale. A chromatic sequence would be to play the exact same thing. I literally it just gets weirder and weirder. Later in the melody is actually a chromatic sequence. It actually changes the tones. When you get to the so each time that modulates, it takes the shape along with it and actually uses accidentals in each back. Dig? So that's a sequence. And they give us some examples here too. Sequence, repetition, and transposition. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, mi. Here's a chromatic version, which you can sing on your own. Okay, moving on. So here's some repetition. In this case, imitation, which occurs between 2 or more voices. We're using the term imitation instead of repetition. Notice that this violin starts to play a pattern, and as it continues on its journey, this violin comes in and plays the same pattern. It's imitating this voice. We wouldn't use the term sequence. We would use imitation, where it's imitating what's happening. Now, within the patterns, though, we do have some sequential material. See how this is the same little unit that gets transposed down here? When we get into the second line, look how that's the same little unit. It's transposing up by step through the scale. So a combination of the original melody, some imitation in the other voice, and some sequential patterns. Violins, Bach.
Example 7-3.
Very cool. Okay, now we're going to concentrate on one sequential pattern, the circle of fifths progression, which consists of a series of roots related by descending fifths and or ascending fourths. So they're going to take us through this. I want to do it too. But let's just listen to an example of a circle of fifths progression in motion. Notice in this bass line a lot of descending fifths, ascending fourths, descending fifths, ascending fourths, back and forth. And you'll really hear it in this. This is Vivaldi. This is also Baroque era stuff, 17th century.
Example 7-5.
Maybe early. Bum, 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 bum. Moving around the circle. So, like we've talked about a number of times, our most common progression in Western music, no, I'm not sure, is 5-1. 5 chord going to a 1 chord. Get the right camera here. Working. Sweetie. Good old 5-1. Sol, do. Let's do this in C. Everybody sing sol, do. Sol, do. Yeah, that's 5-1 in the bass. And like I said, you can also ascend. You can go sol, do. That's our perfect chord. Sol, do. Sing it. Sol, do. Yeah. Sol, do. So we can consider that little fragment. I'm going to go. Here's a 5-1. We can consider that actually the end of a series of chords that are all related in the same way. So remember, we looked at it as descending fifth or ascending fourth. Let's go through these and ask, if you have a descending fifth into a note, what would it be? So if we wanted to figure out which chord precedes 5, we would think, okay, what is a fifth above 5 that's coming down into 5? What's a fifth above G? D. D. That makes sense? And what is D in the key of C? 2. 2, 5, 1. Anybody study jazz at all and heard the term 2, 5, 1 167,000 times? How jazz do I want to be? Yep.
In terms of chords, you told us to avoid jumps between
We were talking about bass motion. Chapter 6 was full of all kinds of things of all sorts. These are bass lines. Okay. That it's good you're remembering. You want things to move smoothly, but we're always talking about the inner parts. And eventually we are going to, as we get into using inversions, we can smooth out the bass line, but it doesn't change the row movements. We can have a 2-5-1 with a smooth bass line as well.
Because otherwise you could only switch chords to You would only have two options. Or
Yeah.
you either go up
So
one.
take. That's 1, 2, 5, 1. Even though the bass line is just going. And it's because I'm going 1, 2, 4, 2, 5, 6, 5. So even though we're using a smoother bass line, it still is a 2-5-1.
Is that a song or is it just
It's
a
from the,
Harmonic
well, it's
Progression?
two different things. It comes originally from Bach's C major prelude from the well-tempered clavier. But then, I don't remember, does anybody remember which composer took that and then wrote the Ave Maria melody over the top of it? I think it was in the 19th century.
I remember this one piece. It's totally different. It's Beethoven's moon. It's something about
Yeah.
the moon.
If it's a different piece, then I'm not playing.
So, but I can't.
Moonlight's
So,
phenomenal.
I think maybe Schubert or Schumann, maybe Brahms. I think it was a 19th century composer who wrote the Ave Maria. So the famous Ave Maria aria is based on that. Yeah, exactly. That's based on this Bach C major prelude. Beautiful stuff. Okay. What's next? Anybody already? Any nerdy music theory geeks already think ahead? What's going to precede that note? 6. Why? What's the note? Give me the note first, and then we'll put it in context. A. You're choosing A because it's a fifth above D. Now I'm going to keep this pattern because if I keep going up by fifths, I'm going to end up way up here in the treble clef. So I'm going to put the A down here. Same thing, right? Ascending fourth, descending fifth, same thing. And then you said that was a 6 chord. So 1, 6, 2, 5 is super, super common. It's the old. Bass. 1, 6, 2, 5. 1, 6, 2, 5. Dig? I know. Most people play with a 4 chord.
Okay, I was like questioning.
I was just jazzing it up a little bit.
Okay, cool. I'm glad. I thought I was like questioning if I'd been playing that wrong my entire life.
Tip her with a 6 chord, or tip her with a 2 chord.
Cool.
Okay, so what's next? What's the next note? Or not the next note, but the previous note. Yeah, give us the number. Give us the note first. What is it? E.
Why is it the 3?
Okay. So if let's hang on. Let's take a picture of our own ball. You see why it's E?
I see. Yeah, I see the E.
Because it's a fifth above the A, right? Now, what are all your Roman numerals? All of your Roman numerals are roots of chords in the key you're in. So if E is the root of a chord, what is E in the key of C? What scale degree does it mess up? There you go. It's 3.
Ah.
Does that make sense?
No.
No? You're the one who said it. Play a C major scale. Where is E in the scale? What number is it?
It's the 3rd one.
Yeah. So if we build a chord off of that, we call it the 3 chord.
Oh. But like, why did we choose 3 in the first place?
Because we're choosing all
it's
of
a-
these because they descend a fifth
Oh, this.
yeah, and
into the next chord.
Ew.
So if you
Descend to 5th and descend to 4th. Oh, okay.
exactly.
I see.
So if we want to make this really literal, we could go descend a fifth from G to C, descend a fifth from G, descend a fifth from A to B, descend a fifth from E to A. What's next?
to be
What's a fifth above E?
C.
What's a fifth above E?
B.
B. Do we all agree that's a B? Yes. Okay, and then we ask the question. Brucelyn,
Yeah.
what is B in the key of C?
C is going to be a 7.
Yep. And what do you remember from chapter 4? What quality of chord happens on 7 in a
That's,
key?
Minor, no, minor diminished.
Diminished.
I guess full diminished.
We're
No,
just doing,
half diminished.
just doing triads right now, so it's neither. It's just a diminished triad. But yes, it's diminished. And again, instead of writing it up, I'm going to keep this alternating pattern, and I'm going to write it down here. 7 diminished. Cool? Now the next one's a little tricky. Get ready to trip. Hard.
It's not the usual.
We're going to keep it diatonic. This is a diatonic progression, meaning that everything that's happening happens in the key, in a key. Okay. So, careful with this fifth. Use just a literal fifth. Doesn't have to be a perfect fifth, and it's not gonna be. What is a diatonic fifth? Fifth in the key of C major above B. F. Notice that that's the diminished fifth. And this does play into some weirdness. So we're gonna come back to this. Yeah, F. And what is F in the key of C? 4. 4. And then what's perfect fifth above F? C. So there are all of our fifths. C, the 1 chord. So this is a complete circle of fifths progression. Circle of fifths progression. 1 4 7 3 6 2 5 1. Let's say it. 1 4 7 3 6 2 5 1. Again. 1 4 7 3 6 2 5 1. Again. 1 4 7 3 6 2 5 1. Again. 1 4 7 3 6 2 5 1. 1 4 7 3 6 2 5 1. Most progressions are pieces, at least chunks of this. What's the first thing that happens in a blues? Four. So there's our 1 to 4. What's at the end? 5. That is a little 4 chord in there. And then 1. So starting with 1 4, ending with 5-ish 1. Ending with 2 5 1. 6 2 5 1. What did I do, bass players? 3 6 2 5. Yeah. Instead of going 5 to 1, I went 5, 3, did a little deceptive motion down to 3, 6, 2, 5. So I jumped back in the circle. Jumped back all the way to 3 and then went 6, 2, 5. Holy cow, we got 6 minutes to get the rest of this out here. So that's looking at the entire possibilities of circle fifths motion. The reality is we very rarely see the entire thing. These get organized in more in a little bit different manner, although there always is a backbone of circle of fifths motion. But it's when you get into this diminished stuff that things get a little bit funky. 7 diminished chords generally don't go to minor 3 chords. So let's look at the conventions. Now, considering we have 6 minutes, this is being recorded. We got Dr. B's lectures as well. So we can't get into any whys. Don't get me off on any tangents, all right? Won't get at that. What we're going to do is we're going to construct a standard harmonic progression chart using these. And starting with the core of the circle of fifth progression. I like the other thing. Which is 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Now, what has been observed, and it happens for a good reason, is that 7 diminished chords generally don't lead to 3. Listen to this 7 diminished in the C. You hear that T? What do you hear we wanted to do? I hear want to go back to 1. It also has this Fa, which wants to move to E. So diminished chords contain these two very, very strong tendency tones. And they create that diminished fifth. Hear the voice leading implications of that interval? So it's been observed that composers have taken advantage of that. Composers honor that, those tendencies, and 7 diminished chords generally result in 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 7 diminished here along with the 5. Always going to read this chart from left to right. So what this means is 7 diminished tends to go to 1, and 5 tends to go to 1. Dig it? The 4 chord, yeah, it makes sense coming from 1, but as far as progressing on 7 diminished, it happens. It's not very common for it to, we kind of took 7 diminished out of the mix. Not very common for the 4 to just skip 7 and go to 3. So what we find, like with 170 million different pop tunes, we find that 4 chords tend to get hooked up with 5 chords. Tend to precede 5 chords. So we find that they function a lot like 2 chords. These are interchangeable. This 2 chord, of course, can go to 5, but the 2 chord can also go to 7 diminished. 4 chord can go to 5. And the 4 chord can proceed to 7 diminished. Again, we're reading from left to right. So that means that following 6, we could go to 4 or 2. Josh is talking about heart and soul. He said, have I been playing this wrong the whole time? Right? So there's 1, 6, 2, 5. Now you might say, well, wait, what about that 1 chord? Why isn't it over here? Well, the 1 chord is the destination of all these progressions. That's our gravitational center. So what we do with 1, and what's observed in a million different progressions, is that 1 can go anywhere. Anything can follow 1 chord. Most pieces begin with the 1 chord. So if I start with C major, I could go to 6. Or I can start with C major and go right to 2. 5, 1. I can go to C major with 3 chord, and then 6, 2, 5, 1. So 1 chord can be followed by anything. There are a couple little extra arrows in here. 1 we already know. What did we study in chapter 6? That was the weird little progression. 5 to 6, the deceptive progression. Throw that little extra arrow in there. Another common thing is this. Churchgoers, or just anybody who's been paralyzed. Good old amen. What's happening in an amen cadence? 4 chord going to 1. Amen, amen, amen. 4 chords like to go to 1 chord. Amen. One that we can't just pull right out of the thin air like that, but there's also a little extra. Sometimes 4 chords will turn into 2 chords before they continue on. There it is. That's the chart. You'll see that harmonic progression chart in chapter 7 in the text. The minor version is just the same. One little change. Minor 1, 5 and 7 diminished are still the same. Qualities. Minor 4, 2 diminished. What's the quality of a 6th chord to minor key? Yep. Major. Major 6. Major 3. The difference is sometimes this major 7 actually occurs back in this circle of fifths motion. You can actually have
a diminished 7?
diminished 7's over here.
Oh, yeah.
The major 7, the te chord, the natural minor chord. It happens sometimes. Should have done all those little extra swoopity dips. So you can end up with actually a complete circle of fifths progression in minor. All the same little twists and turns. 5 can go to 6, 4 can go to 1, 4 can go to 2. That's the minor version. And 1 can go anywhere. Anywhere. So let me ask you a question real quick. I'm in the key of A major. I'm on a 2 chord. And no, I'm not. Well, sure I am. I'm on a 2 chord and I want to go to a 1 chord. What are my options in between?
5 or 7.
5 or 7. Yeah. You can put a 5 chord here, or you can put a 7 chord here.
The 7th chord is the Harmonic Progression. Why did the 7th chord?
We're looking at this chart. I'm on a 2 chord. I want to get to a 1 chord. How can I get there? By going to 5 or going to 7. That makes sense? We read this chart from left to right.
Okay, I see what you mean. The way this chart works, how does it work?
You read from left to right,
Okay.
and it shows you how the chords progress. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, you read from left to right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's say I'm on a 3 chord. Yeah, if I'm on a 3 chord and I need to get to I need to get to a 5 chord. What are my options?
6, 2 diminished, and then 5.
Yeah, go to a 6. Oh, I was in a. Whoops. I guess I was in minor.
Yeah, you're right. I thought you were right.
Go to 6. And where would it go?
We either go to diminished 2nd or 4.
Yeah, either go to 2 diminished or 4. And then, or both. Or 5 or 7 diminished. So that's what your homework looks like.
Is there no crossing between 4 and 4 for the minor?
No, the minor 4 can go to 1 as well. If that's what the question was.
No, if can
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
well, yeah, but can the 4 go to the?
So if you look in your, when you go into connect, we just did that whole journey. Here it is. There's the chart. Oh, I didn't draw this little extra arrow, 3 going 4. So of course you're going to read through the whole chapter. And of course you're going to watch this Zoom video again, and you're going to watch the Dr. B video. And then here is the minor version. See that 7 is there? Then you're going to look at your homework. Did that change? Yeah. So look at what happens in the first section of the homework. Familiar? Yep. 4 is going to go to 1. You pass through what or what? 6 is going to go to 1. Then there's going to be, they're going to throw whole progressions at you and want you to find flaws in them, or at least just variations or deviations from the chart. All chord progressions belong in the world.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it doesn't like this isn't like a strict set of rules. Like
No,
you can't
no,
have
all chord progressions belong in the world. We're just observing a million different pieces written in the last 4 centuries, including contemporary music, and saying, oh, songwriters tend to do this, composers tend to do this, and we're making, I like the term conventions versus rules. These aren't rules as much as they are observed conventions in what we've considered good music for a long, long time. Yes, I have homework packets here. Yes. Just grab them off the piano. And we're doing, I think, I don't remember.
7-2 for Monday, right? That's what the
A and B. 7-1, sections A and B.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, just those first 2 sections.
See you next week. Have a good weekend.
See ya.
Thank you for the cadence talk.
Yeah, you bet.
I'll try to bring donuts for jazz band.
Pardon?
Oh, up there.
On the piano, yeah.
I'll try to bring donuts for jazz band. Just talk to
Oh,
me.
cool.
He'll give me the so I work at a bakery. ¿Qué tal está?
Nada or muy bien?
How's it going is what that means.
Oh, okay.
Kinda like, how's it
Then
going?
I'm going to go with nada.
Did it take you a few days to recover from everything?
Yeah. Actually, the first few days were the best because my sleep schedule was so messed up.
Right.
I was crashing at 9, you know, and waking up at 6 in the morning, getting these killer nights of sleep.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking
And then I started shifting back into my old habits. You know, I want to stay up till 1 and get up at freaking 5.
Yeah. Get up at 5.
Not intentionally. I wake up at 5 and do my darndest to get back to sleep. I usually can get back to sleep. Okay, I'll tackle this downstairs.
Today I'm going to go down to